Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever Reddit video. Today we're going to be taking a look at entitled parents. Let's go. Entitled Neighbor complains about the gravel in our driveway being an eyesore. So for the past 3 weeks, we've had a meter tall pile of gravel in our driveway. We got the gravel because we've had some problems with water getting into the basement. There's a large slope going towards our house that is letting water into our basement and causing flooding problems. My parents had talked to a few plumbers and landscapers to see what the problem was, and we were told that if we could make the slope go away from our house, that we would no longer have the issue. So upon hearing that, we tore down our back deck and bought about 4 meters worth of gravel to fill it in. So far, no flooding problems. Now on to the story. Yesterday, we were working in the backyard. My brother, 12, my dad, 48, my mom, 45, and I, 16, were all doing different things. My mom was hauling gravel from the pile in our driveway to our backyard, while my brother and I helped my dad mount stairs under the back door. After about 5 minutes, we noticed my mom hadn't come back yet and went to see what was going on. We found our neighbor from across the street. He was asking what my mom was doing. After a few pleasantries, he finally asked, "So, when are you getting rid of the gravel?" "As soon as we're done fixing up the backyard." "Can't you get it done by Monday? It's a real eyesore. I don't want to have to look out my window and see that." Now for a fact, my mom parks in front of the pile for this exact reason, so people can't see it unless they look. Well, if you don't like it, don't look at it. I got a playful smack for that one from my dad, and the neighbor had given me a sour look, as if I had just shoved a lemon down his throat. "Well, you have to get rid of it. It's making my wife upset. She doesn't want to have to look at it." "Well, you have blinds and eyes, and you can control both. Look somewhere else. What makes your wife upset is not our problem." After that, we all went back to what we were doing and left him standing there fuming. My dad laughed a little at me, but told me to watch my tone next time and let him and my mom handle it. Later, we also discussed leaving the gravel there and parking the car so they would actually see it. This next post is by backtosleepplz, in which their mother tries to steal their birth certificate. So some background, I don't get along with my mother. She is racist, homophobic, transphobic, and Islamophobic, along with many other destructive characteristics. And considering that I'm a queer, agender, black Lebanese person, it didn't take me long to start disliking her. She continuously dismisses my racial issues, like being profiled while shopping, and refuses to use my correct pronouns. There's more, but this is all that's relevant. I'd rather not bore you with all the unfortunate event that is in my life. Get the reference? So in June 2020, I get kicked out for going to a Black Lives Matter protest, which is right after my birthday, very end of May. I've been on my own since. Well, fast forward to February of this year, I'm in my own apartment, working full-time and taking the necessary steps to start college. Sometimes important mail is still sent to my mother's house, and since I don't want to give her my address, I'd go pick them up every once in a while. I told her to leave them in the mailbox so I could grab and go, and hopefully not see her. Of course, I knew my mother, and knew she'd probably do something to get me in the house. So I slapped some black lipstick on, black nail polish, and made sure to wear my newly dyed red hair in a way that would give it as much volume as possible. Those are all things she hates, and at one point she even told me I wouldn't get a job with an afro because they were unprofessional. Yeah, she went there. So I pull up in the gayest outfit I could find and check the mailbox. Nothing. No surprise there. I knocked on the door and asked to collect my mail, and despite me calling ahead of time and telling her to get it all together, she hasn't even located half of the items. These items include W-2 forms, monthly car insurance, and car payment invoices, as well as my $600 stimulus check. She slowly gets my stuff together and then tries to shove me out the door before I can ask her about my birth certificate. I had told her I wanted it as well as my old passport when I called her. I quickly reminded her and she proceeded to say something to the extent of, "I don't even know where they are." She has OCD. She knows exactly where they are. I kept pressing until she caved and pulled out an important document folder. I start to pull the original certificate out of its sleeve, which then prompted the following absolutely ridiculous conversation to take place.
"Take the copy. I'll keep the original."
"I'll take both."
"No, I will keep one."
"No."
"Leave that here. That belongs to me."
"No."
"Yes, it does."
"I want my birth certificate."
"That belongs to me, OP. Don't be like this."
"I would like to keep my birth certificate."
"Well, then order one."
"You don't need it."
"Yeah, I do."
"For what?"
OP, that's for me to keep on record.
Why?
OP, I don't want to argue with you. You don't need it. That belongs to me.
I would like to keep it.
Order one.
How about I just take this one?
Order it from the state.
It costs money. I also didn't want to deal with government websites. I already had enough BS to deal with living on my own. I definitely wasn't interested in adding fight with the government to the list.
So?
Why don't you order one?
OP, because I have one.
I would like to keep my birth certificate.
Why?
Because I want it. It's mine.
Well, it's actually not yours. It's mine, but that's fine. Keep it.
Thank you. The argument was dumb, but despite me expecting her to put up some kind of fight, I wasn't expecting her to behave like that. Not to mention, I plan on legally changing my full name. I need my original birth certificate to do that. But I didn't mention that because then she'd really try to stop me. I took both the copy and the original, but a month or two later when I was organizing all my papers, I took a closer look at the copy and realized it wasn't even a copy of my certificate. I was a copy of my mother's birth certificate, so it's good I got the original. There were a few times through that argument where I wondered if I should just give up and order one, but my mother's behavior royally pissed me off, which pushed me to push harder. I actually have a recording of this interaction. If this post blows up, I'll post the recording too. I actually listened to it while making this, and the convo is almost verbatim. Also, a bonus thing she said as I was walking out of the door. It's hard to be challenged, isn't it? With a big old smirk in her face. Made no sense. Too long didn't read. My butthole of a mother didn't want me to have my original birth certificate for no apparent reason other than to be annoying as heck. Edit. Some of y'all are being really rude about this situation, and there's so much that you don't know, so let's clarify, shall we? Number 1, I did not go there just to mess with my mother. I needed W-2 forms among other things. I literally mentioned that earlier in the post. Number 2, I don't talk to my mother. I cut her off as best I can, but there's a couple reasons as to why I can't cut her off completely. It's unfortunate. I hate it, but it's not something I can fix immediately, so I have to be patient. Number 3, I was 18 for approximately 8 days before she kicked me out. I don't care if I can sign a contract, there's crap adults do every day that I've never done before. I'm still a baby, I haven't even lived a quarter of my life expectancy. As I mentioned, I'm 18. I had no idea you could just order another birth certificate like it was a soda refill. My mother is wildly ill-informed. I had no idea if she was telling the truth or not. We had entire arguments where she thought that I couldn't move out, sign contracts, etc. until I was 21. The attorney I contacted for help to legally change my name told me I needed my passport, don't have one, and my birth certificate. If you'll notice, I mentioned that the copy my mother was trying to give me was actually a copy of my mother's, not mine. There is no copy of mine. I still think it's quite strange as to why their mother wanted their birth certificate. I'm not sure if maybe it was like a legal thing, like they were going to try and do something under their name or something like that, or maybe they were just trying to hold on to some sort of like ownership. A lot of entitled parents seem to think that they own their child, and I wonder if this was that kind of thing in their mind. But either way, it's not her birth certificate, it's OP's. This next post is by Imanaveragehumanman, in which the entitled parent tries to claim that OP stole her wallet. So, this happened a few weeks before Christmas of 2020. Now on to the story. I decided to go grocery shopping at my local Walmart, and I decided to go over to the electronics section to go find a gaming headset as my recent one broke. Cue the entitled parent. I'm looking through this array of headsets, then entitled parent comes to me and asks, "Excuse me, sir, do you think you could buy this game for my kid, as it's almost Christmas and I promised entitled kid video game name?" Sorry ma'am, but do I even know you? I guess that tipped her off because she decides to scream like a banshee.
Listen here, you C-word. Buy me the game right now. Have your parents ever taught you to be kind and thoughtful to strangers?
Yes, she really said that. This is where I start to get annoyed. Ma'am, please leave me alone. I will not buy video game name for your child. Then the entitled parent storms off. Here's the juicy part. As soon as I pick out the headset and I'm about to go grab an employee so they can lock whatever people call where they store all their electronics, entitled parent comes back with a security guard.
Yes, he's the one who stole my wallet.
Excuse me? This woman is saying that you stole her wallet. Is this true? I don't know if this woman knows what an ID is, but I was able to shut her down real quick. Sir, I can show you my ID to prove this wallet is mine. Ma'am, this is this man's wallet. Then she just left. My bad if the story wasn't really interesting, but I do have other interesting ones I'd like to share, so be ready for that. And keep in mind, this is my first Reddit post. I feel like a lot of entitled parents try to do things like stealing and such like this, but one thing in common with all of them is that they never seem to get away with it, and they all seem to try the worst methods. I don't know what made her think that it would work by basically literally reporting herself to the police almost. Like, she didn't seem to get in trouble, but it certainly wouldn't work. That's going to be all for today's Reddit video. I hope that you enjoyed this and that maybe I can hear some constructive criticism, things I need to do and don't do. I'm probably going to be doing some more of these because I found some more stories and I think it's pretty fun, and I'm really interested in these subreddits and such, so keep in tune for that. I hope that you're all staying healthy and hydrated, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye bye!